Hello, hello. Welcome to day 1528 of Connecting the Thoughts. Quote for today is flexibility makes relationships last. Flexibility makes relationships last. And today joining me is Pradesh, all the way from New Zealand. Thank you so much. 6 a.m. at his place. Uh, Prajesh is a mindset clarity coach, a crossroads coach, and he works very successfully with students and individuals who are looking to find themselves. So, thank you, Prajesh, for joining us today.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for having me on again. Loving this week of connecting our thoughts. It's been fantastic so far.
Lovely, thank you. And today we're talking about flexibility makes relationships last. What comes to your thought when I say that?
Yeah, when you sent me this quote, I was like, "Oh, this is an interesting one," because when we get into any relationship, whatever the relationship is, whether it's a platonic one or a romantic one, we enter it with a perception of what we want the other person to be. So, and the perception is based on our own values, I guess. And I guess as you grow the relationship, you start discovering whether your values match or they don't match. And
Mm,
sometimes we forget that everyone has a different map of the world. And if we're not flexible in whatever relationship it is, we don't let go of those old models, whatever our beliefs are, which means that we're not going to grow
mm,
together to
mm.
find these new things. So I think that's a great starting point for us.
Yes, it is. And when I look at it, what I feel is it's like sometimes when you get more deeper into the relationship, you begin to want to kind of put that person in your favorite box.
Yeah.
You want that person, like you said, the expectations. You want the person to tick off certain box. You want them to behave in a particular way. You want them to kind of be more available to you. There are certain expectations, and you begin to have, and you kind of want to push that person to be in that constrained, rigid space. And that then begins to be suffocating to the person, and they want to kind of get me out of here, kind of a situation. So, the more flexible you can be in a relationship, the more the possibility of it lasting, and the more the possibility of it lasting and evolving, becoming a person of its own.
Yeah, totally. And I like how you said that because when you become flexible, what happens is you become open to new ideas. You become open to think of new ways of doing things, new adventures. If we take it to a different level, trying things out, and experiencing things that you wouldn't have as an individual, because you now expanding. Actually, wait a minute. If I take my map of the world and I expand it out to the other person's map of the world, hey, things are going to be possible, as opposed to, like you said, living in a constrained space through your
Hmm.
own expectations of either cultural expectations, societal expectations, or your own media perceptions of what a relationship should be or look like.
Hmm. And I like that you brought in societal expectations, because I think a lot of us, the relationship we have with our own self is defined by the kind of conditioning and the kind of communal expectations that are around us. So, for instance, if, like yesterday, we were talking about boys don't cry, right?
Yeah,
So those are the expectations. So then your relationship with yourself becomes, it's unnatural for me to cry or to express my emotions, and then that's how you evolve with your relationship, and then you stay disconnected with your emotions, and then you wonder why you are this person who has zero emotional quotient.
exactly. Yeah, and then when you take that into another relationship, so when you go moving on, then you go, actually, wait a minute. If you're the kind of person that's emotionally, let's just say stunted, for whatever a better word, and you go into a relationship with someone that's emotionally aware, there's going to be a clash because you don't understand their world and they don't understand your world, and they're going, why are you not emotional? What is going on here? And
Yeah.
that prevents any growth from going forward. So as you say, awareness of your own where you are coming from, your own models of the world is pretty important. And how do you do that there? It's great to talk about this, but and I think it's something that we've mentioned before, just journaling, meditating, and just actually finding out who you are as a
Mhm.
as a human being without any other expectations can help you as you move forward.
And and British, as you said, as you used the word journaling, what came to my mind was when sometimes your body is used to certain foods, and then suddenly there is this allergy that you might develop to it, intolerance to a certain food type. So
Yeah.
what the doctors recommend for you to do is to make a food journal and understand, what's happening in your space, in your eating habits. When you eating, how's your body reacting to it? Now, stay with me on this one. When you are in a relationship or when you are looking at relationships, what are certain elements that come into the picture, certain emotions, certain experiences, certain situations that come into that scenario that make you behave in a particular way? When
Yeah.
you get to that, helps you get to know yourself better. What are your triggers? What are things that might be awkward for you? Why are they that way? Just getting to know yourself and building a good relationship with yourself and being flexible about it
Yeah.
helps you to be a better person in other relationships too.
Yeah, totally. And I love the analogy of a food diary, um, because I think if you do an emotional, well, I'm going to use the word emotional, but if you use a diary that captures your emotions, for example, especially we're gonna look at more negative emotions because those are the ones in a relationship which cause a relationship to falter. But
Yep.
also positive ones are great. So, for example, when you're angry in a relationship, why are you angry? Is it because you refused to believe that the other person be right? Is it because you didn't want to go? Actually, I'm wrong, or actually I
Hmm.
don't know what I'm talking about. Maybe that's why I'm angry, or maybe I'm angry because you can't admit the other person knows more than you do. And sometimes in a
Yeah,
relationship
that
you go,
happens.
"Wait, I know everything." And then again, you can flip the script and go, "Hey, why have I had a positive experience? Oh, is it because I've actually met this person? I've tried something so totally different, which I was so resistant to, but I opened my mind to be flexible in this relationship, and wow, it's amazing." And off we go. And I was reading something before, as I was preparing for this a little bit as well. I read an interesting piece by Tony Robbins who spoke about how Instagram was formed and how the two founders of Instagram basically created a product which was so complex that nobody actually wanted to use it. And instead of them just standing by their product and going, "Hey, this is what the way it should be. This is it," they became flexible and they were actually, "Wait a minute, let's listen to what the others say, and let's use the ideas, scrap our idea, make it simple," and that's how Instagram was formed. But they were open. They were open to being flexible to other people's ideas. And
Yeah,
so if you go back to relationships could be with yourself, it could be platonic, it could be in a business sense. Actually, what do your
I was
customers
actually,
actually want?
yes.
So it's so layered with when it comes to relationships.
True. And you literally nailed it, because the next that I was going to talk about was business relationships, relationships in the workspace.
Yeah,
So when you're flexible to listen to what your colleagues have to say, whether it's your superiors or the people who are working with you on the team, when you are open to receive feedback, some of
yeah,
us have difficulty receiving feedback. If you are open to that, there is always room to grow. There's always room to understand how things can be done differently. It's just about having that openness, as you said, to receive, assess, adjust, and then kind of take the next step forward and move forward from there.
yeah, totally. And I think it goes back to I guess a fundamental thing to go. Actually, I don't know everything in my life. I don't know everything. And once we start admitting that in any kind of relationship, whether it's a business or a platonic or a romantic relationship, I don't know everything. Things will change because like we've said before, sometimes expectations of society is that you should know everything because XYZ,
Mm,
you're a male or you're a female, you should all this other stuff. Yeah, you work in this space. Yeah, but if you go, actually, I don't know everything. It should
mm.
just make things flow better in a relationship. But it comes to flexibility. When you admit you don't know, you're more flexible to try things that, oh, I'll give it a crack.
Yep. It's beautiful. I'm really enjoying this conversation, because every time you say something, something kind of just have this light bulb moment in my head. And as you were saying about I don't know everything, what came to my mind was, again, I don't know for what reason, but experiment that we've done in science growing up, little kids, where you have a saturated solution
Yeah,
where you've added enough salt to it so that no more can be added. You keep stirring it in, and no more sugar, salt can be added to the water. That means it's a saturated solution. But then when you heat the water, it can take in a little bit more, right? It
exactly.
becomes
Yeah,
super saturated. So in relationships, if you go with that mindset of I know everything, there's no more anything that you can add to me. I'm done. I'm saturated. The heat turns up,
yeah,
there's discomfort, things go hot and heated. They have a hot and heated arguments, and that's when you realize I need to take in some more. I need to understand from the other person what exactly it is that they're trying to present to me. What is it they're bringing to the conversation? And that's when you become a super saturated solution, and you're able to take a little bit more. I don't know if this makes sense, but that's what came to my
Yeah,
mind as you were sharing it.
yeah, I like that analogy because I think it's in any relationship, the test of the flexibility will come when the heat comes.
Yeah.
So if you look at like example, when the heat comes, if you're not flexible, and if we take your solution for example, if you're not flexible and we're using a glass jar that has a certain bandwidth for heat, it's going to break. But whereas
Yes.
if we use a different kind of jar that allows expansion, if we take a relationship,
Mm,
that's flexibility right there, and that's where we grow and we allow more to come into our lives.
exactly. So it's all about flexibility, and it's also, as you said, is if it's important, if the relationship is important to you, you will make the effort to be flexible, to understand, to kind of mold with the person. But if it's something that might not really be a priority for you, then you will be inflexible, you will be insecure, and you will
Yeah.
crash.
Exactly. But one thing I also do want to add to this is when we talk about flexibility and I guess even compromise, is we must remember that it's not about flexibility to make the other person happy all the time.
Hmm.
It's about the flexibility to grow, but also not to forget your values. We all driven by values, and
Yes.
sometimes relationships start faltering because you give away your values, and this is why you
Hmm.
start getting angry because you're trying to impress the person or the people through material changes or through superficial levels, and you start getting angry because you don't realize the anger is actually coming from you letting go from your real core, and that doesn't come through. And then yeah, so I just want to just remind people that flexibility is awesome, but don't deviate from your core values, which are
Hmm.
very very different. Which could
That
be
is
another
very
conversation
important.
together.
That could be another quote for another. We've got another few days left, so yes,
Yeah.
why not? In fact, I think I really think tomorrow we'll be touching upon this because I already know what we're talking about tomorrow. So I think this is going to come up tomorrow in tomorrow's conversation. So
Brilliant.
awesome. So anything that you would like to add in closing on this quote or anything at all? At all? Tell us about you. You haven't told us much about you.
About me, what would you like
Yes,
to? So
you work with students.
yes, yeah, like you
Tell us
said,
about that.
yeah, I work in the spaces. So I call myself a crossroads coach because I think every decision that we make in life is you come to a crossroad, and at the
Yes.
crossroads you're either going to go forwards or you're going to go backwards. I mean, you're just going to make a decision. And like I've always said, there's no such thing as a good or a bad decision. There's a decision you make. But sometimes we get to a place where we come to a decision, but we are so afraid to cross that road, we just stay
Mm,
stagnant because we stay in our comfort zone. And that is the space that I work with my clients. And when I work with young people, I mean, all my work is with young people, and my other job really is it's I see this all the time, and it's just to try and push them a little bit. And it's quite interesting because I'm going to come back to this quote of flexibility. So at the moment, most of the young people have got their exam results back, and in their minds they were going to be a doctor or a dentist or an engineer, and now the results have come back and that's not going to happen. But
mm,
now to change their mind from this, hey, I was always brought up in this mindset, I'm going to be a doctor, and now I can't. The shifts, or actually I can't at the moment. The shift of that is really quite hard because the mindset I was supposed to be this, but what has happened now? So again, back to our real quote: to be flexible in thinking that actually, hey, sometimes life is going to throw you things where you have to change your route and go right. Cool. I'm going to accept this change and move on. So yeah, that's the kind of space I work in. So I have two roles, I guess. One is my work with young people, and one is working with adults who are at this crossroad in life, which is interesting.
mm, mm. I was meant to be a doctor growing up. My mom had decided for me that I would be a doctor. But life
Yeah,
had other plans. Got married young, came here to UAE, and then decided I want to do more in life than diapers and dishes. And
yeah,
here I am today, speaking, working in the world of words,
yeah.
transitioned from the written to the spoken world, and now coaching, training, and all the stuff that I do.
Which is amazing.
And yeah, so it's, but then was it easy for me to kind of transition, and was it easy for me to not feel guilty about not fulfilling her dream? Not really.
Yeah.
But then now that I begin to enjoy the work that I do, I realize it wasn't me not be given the chance to not fulfill a dream, but it was more to reroute myself and find another way of possibility in life.
Yeah, because I think a lots of us are put into in these boxes here because of expectations from society. You
Yep.
know, if you said to your parents when you're young, "Hey, I'm going to be a wordsmith," they'll be like, "What are you talking about?" And
Exactly. Who's
not to their fault, right? This is just the way society is. So it's safe for us to go. I'm going to be one of these vocational pathways because it
hmm,
sounds safe.
hmm.
Which is I guess it's a greater concern in the world where you can't just say I want to be an artist and your family going to be cool, happy days, this is amazing. You're going to go ahead and
Yeah.
be awesome, which is
They
very
worry. They worry.
yeah,
They worry.
exactly, yes, that's right.
So, thank you, Prajesh. And guys, if this conversation has been of value to you in any shape or form, please write in comments saying, I am flexible, because I think that's the word for the day. I am flexible in comments if you would like to join my 21-day program, which is Building Habits of Success. The link is in the description and also in comments over here. Do join me. And until tomorrow, keep smiling, keep shining, stay safe, and thank you for connecting the thoughts with me. Thank you so, so much. Thank you, Prajesh, and have a
No worries.
wonderful day.
Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Bye. Thanks.